All right, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Mandy Cherry Daniel, our head of product communications, and Lenny Morris, our EVP of sales. Mandy has held various leadership roles across product, customer success, customer training, all in the guise of kind of getting new technology into ready mix production facilities. Lenny has a ton of experience doing kind of sales and a bunch of other leadership roles at technology companies, also selling into ready mix. And so there are no two people more qualified to properly contextualize this moment that the industry is undergoing. So the best thing I can do for you all is probably put myself on mute and turn the camera off, and I'll pass it to these two to take it from here. Thanks for being here, everyone.
All right, Lenny. So we hear lots about AI. It's everywhere, but those results can be hard to come by. Can you talk about this a little bit? Get us started talking about this a bit?
Sure. Well, it's another AI seminar, another AI webinar, another AI session. I got about 200 done this year, I think. Every meeting you go to, somebody's going to talk about AI, and I think we're actually starting to get some reality to it. I mean, it's everywhere, but the results for AI are still hard to come by. Lots of talk, lots of neat things, lots of immaterial things, maybe some benefits, in small pieces. But we're going to try to cut through the noise and take an honest look at where AI is in the ready mix industry and where it can be, where it should be in near time, and how Sysdyne is positioning our platform and our technologies to make this even more rapid across it. I mean, the problems in ready mix, we all know. There's not enough labor where we need it. We got weather problems. Weather every day. Somebody's affected in ready mix by weather. Too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry, too windy. Every single problem that's affecting how we operate the business. We're always fighting the weather. We all ready mix producers all have demanding contractors, unrealistic expectations, unpredictable behavior, completely ever-changing time specifications, quantities, delivery rates, all the pieces of that. And then it's really an unpredictable business climate as far as what's production going to be? What are we going to do? What are housing starts? What are building starts? What roads are going to get built? Where are we going to have to dedicate resources to on a quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, hourly basis? And it's very, very fast moving. I mean, I started in this industry about 36 years ago. I was very, very young. And I can tell you that the rate of change has never been greater than what we're seeing right now. And it's extremely exciting to be part of it. I wish I was still a developer because I think this would be the funnest thing in the world to be. But this kind of technology is just amazing. The problems with AI, it's just not scaling in the ready mix side the way it needs to be. Sure, we're hitting a few points here and there, and a lot of people are playing around. Is the business, the ready mix producer, the enterprise, whatever you want to call it, really maximizing it? I don't think so. Not yet. I probably talk to as many ready mix producers a day as anyone in the country, and good ones, bad ones, in between. They all know who they are, and everybody has that same desire to do better with AI. From the Systine point of view, we think the platform is key, and being able to put a platform in that can have AI added to it in incremental pieces and move very quickly without totally turning over the entire enterprise. So we're going to cover that in the second portion of the time today. And then the roadmap of where Sysdyne sees it going, where we have taken from the industry what the industry is telling us is most important, and where we need to go. That kind of is what the initiation of this session is.
All right. Get my slides to change. There we go.
Well,
So that sets us up, Lenny. I hear you all the time talk about people, process, and tools, but can you tell us a little bit about AI specifically and why producers experimenting with AI, but there's not been this broad range adoption across the board. Can you tell us some of the what you feel like are some of the causes of that lack of adoption?
Sure, and you're right. I do talk about people, process, and tools all the time, to the point my children don't even want to get in the car with me because we talk about
Exactly.
the people and the process and the tools. But I think the people are always changing, and we have to focus on the people we have, and we have to make processes and manage processes and design processes and tune processes to help the people be most successful. But on the tool side, I think is where we've fallen down a lot of times, and we have a great chance to increase the throughput or the abilities of the whole offering. The systems are disconnected. One system doesn't talk to the next. Quotations don't talk to the dispatch system. Quotations don't talk to the customer's history and predictability. Then price optimization isn't really good. The dispatch systems aren't really getting the up-to-date mixes from a QC system all the time in real time based upon the weather. Everything's disconnected. And until there's a high degree of connectability across the entire system supporting the enterprise, it's really going to be a continued problem. Duplicate and bad data. I don't sit through an AI presentation where somebody doesn't go on and on about bad data, duplicate data. It's every company, every size. The data's not good enough. The CRM's not right. Looking at our own companies sometimes, look at each other's companies all the time. Uh, the customer data is wrong. The same customer's in there 5 times. A ready mix producer has 3,000 mixes and 180 of them are the same thing. So,
Right.
so
Right.
it's just bad, bad, bad data that has to be focused on, or AI is just going to be
A
pounding a
ticket in the
bent
batch
nail.
system versus a ticket in the dispatch system versus a ticket, you know, that turns into a quote, that turns into an invoice, three
You're
separate
exact.
places.
We've spent decades trying to make that work, and
Exactly.
And then, the legacy tools in the industry are there. Everybody didn't throw every old system out, or will not throw every old system out. Got to make certain things work over time as funds and treasure and time allow. And the industry specific tools, it's a small industry. They're very dedicated to a very focused industry. Producers are experimenting with the AI. Some are getting some places. Some are figuring things out as they go, but not at the rate we need to be.
Right. So, the the promise of AI is that, we can tackle some of these challenges. So can you talk about some of the challenges that we think AI can help us tackle?
Sure. I mean, in the real world, the different functions of a ready mix company, the batching. Often we're reliant on manual configuration and adjustments. We're always tuning something. Turn it up, turn it down, change the flow, change the discharge rates. We're always messing with things. And quite honestly, not all of it's beneficial to be doing it. And then the new people aren't able to do it. We have to
Right, so
focus on
dependent on that guy knowing how that one plant works,
You're
right?
exactly
That
right.
one guy.
Right, and heaven forbid there's a backup guy or working that day, or a different operator at a plant that's not used to it. It's a lot of work, and a lot of mistakes can be made. Consistently batching over tolerance, one of my greatest frustrations for a long, long time. Just not adjusting fast enough, not making the changes, not knowing that the cement's going to flow differently out of the silo when you're blowing into the silo. It's different. It's going to be different. Minor things like that cause great fluctuations in the batch process, both time and accuracy. Inconsistent discharge. We know this truck, for some reason we don't know, can't take the material at the same rate as others. Why do we consistently just keep trying to do it? AI can make these things, make them predictable, always right, save hours of cleanup time over the course of a day or week or month, but make the whole process smoother. And then plant breakdowns, the predictability of when things need maintenance, and are they failing, they're behaving differently than they need to fail, is a giant place for AI to tackle this challenge. Dispatch, manual scheduling, Mandy, you spent most of your career
Yes,
manual
I have.
scheduling for hundreds of ready mix companies. And it's the same problem every day. Change the region, change the size of the company, but manually trying to put together a tool, a schedule based upon what we think's going to happen, who we like, who we don't like, who we're going to take better care of tomorrow than because we really got them today on the bad side. All of those parts are all way too manual, and really can be taken into account better for the best benefit of the customers and the ready mix producer. Idle time in the yard and at the plant. We spent decades looking at this, measuring this, spending millions of dollars on tracking systems, and it's still the day-to-day battle. One of the things
Mhm.
I like to bring up is a study from MIT that the NRMCA Concrete Research Foundation helped sponsor, where some very smart people did a big study, big analysis, and they came back with something that almost every ready mix producer should know. If I save 12 minutes per round trip in dispatch and in delivery, we wouldn't have a driver shortage. 12 minutes every trip.
Well,
Is a minute of it in dispatch or 2 minutes of it or 3 minutes? Is a minute or two in batch? Is it in HR planning, scheduling, training, safety, pre-checks, post-checks, all of those places? 12 minutes, we're not talking about a driver shortage. Unknown material demand. When things are going well, uh-oh, we're out. I have orders at a plant. I'm not going to have cement. He's stuck in traffic. We're not adjusting to that material requirements at the plant level. And then inconsistent mix quality and performance slows dispatch down. Too wet, too dry, air's too high, too low, slump's wrong. Too much rock, too much, not enough rock, and you put a pump into it, and now we're just the whole dispatch schedule is gonna fall apart. Back office. A lot of my time's been spent in the
the
back office.
the eternal spreadsheet.
It is. If the number one tool in ready mix concrete operations is Excel. Thank goodness. Otherwise, I don't think any company would operate. But always using a spreadsheet in the back office is not efficient. We should have the tools that we're working directly in, not exporting to a spreadsheet and moving columns around and everything else. We need to put the good people really working at the speed they need, not playing with a spreadsheet. Often the back office is siloed from the operational tools. You have an accounting tool, you have a dispatch tool, not often working well together, lots of slow handoffs of data and moving around. And again, like you said, what's a ticket over here is not a ticket over there. So that constant work. Payment and collections. We're in the business of making money, not making concrete. And if we can't bill properly, collect the money properly, understand the cost of finance of good customers, fast payers, slow payers, no payers, all the different sides of that, credit card processing, online payments, that's a major piece in the back office that really needs AI attention. And then contractor communications. The ready mix producer needs to be communicating with the contractor as fast as possible about billing, payments, finance, pending upcoming credit situations, predicting when a customer contractor could be in a credit problem. Reporting, the ever-ending reporting. Spreadsheets, spreadsheets, spreadsheets. I want a different report. I want it in a different order. I want things. We spend so much time on that, but because the data is locked up in separate systems and just not having access to the data, not using the data for a benefit. And then I always say you don't drive fast ahead by looking in the rearview mirror.
You're
That's
always working on yesterday's problem instead of today's problem.
Yeah, and you just did the same thing again today because you didn't react from fast enough or predict what was going to happen. Some places, some producers, all businesses, they take a report, they throw it into Chat GPT, and it's not necessarily the best kind of way out of it. But it might look prettier, might have some different data, different orders, but it's still not solving the business. But you're always looking backwards, and all of this is over the root problem of labor. So if we can just be a little bit more efficient and let people use their brain power working on the important things and not on the mundane and repetitive, I'll say it mind numbing task orientation, we can put all that brain power to work and the ready mix operations can benefit.
Absolutely.
So what's this mean at Sysdyne? Our AI philosophy, it has been formed over the last year or two, and a lot over the last 6 months, and it's going very, very fast. But the way we see is the humans in the loop. The experienced operators are in control. The people that have been doing jobs for years, decades, even longer than decades, have to be part of it, and that people have to act on the information, not just be guessing at it, but we got to give the smart people the good information, let them act on it. And we're just not looking at a black box decision maker here in AI. It's just not put all the data in a black box and it comes out with an answer because that's just never been successful. I mean, maximize existing investments. We think that's very important from Sysdyne. The answer isn't buy more software. So, okay, sometimes a software person saying that's counterintuitive. I've rarely solved a problem by selling more software. It's usually by aligning the people and the process and the tools better. Sometimes it's more software or different software or better use of the software, but it's is not just throw more at it. It been use it to the best of its ability and make educated decisions as you tune those things. And then all these great people freeing up their time for strategic work, things that are important to change tomorrow, change next week, change next year, not just putting out yesterday's fires again or struggling through another day, but leaving time to think about growth and strategy and efficiencies and truly working at it is what the philosophy Sysdyne has. In practical terms, not adding a bunch of new tools just to add new tools. It's a disruption. It disrupts the rollouts. It disrupts IT. It disrupts people and training. And the people I like the most are the people doing the work. Disrupting them is not what anyone ever wants to do. But so once a tool's in place, being able to add to it is the key in incremental shifts. So the tools
Making the
in
tools they use better instead of wholesale replacing it with something else.
version 2.0, 3.0, 16.7,
Right. Right.
it it's just a disruption, and we've worked together for a long time. Version upgrades and changes never easy on anyone, but incremental additions with the AI technology to a tool people are comfortable with is a real way to leverage its success. And
Pieces
then
pieces of change that the org can handle, right, without overwhelming everybody.
that's exactly right. A small change every day, people are great. That's better. That's great. That's not quite what I need, but it doesn't disrupt the whole day. It's not broken. We've done that. So
Yeah.
we've all done that with software, but it's about incremental benefits to it. And I think your favorite subject's the black box.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did a project together. It was a magic black box, and it was hard. It
Yeah.
never really took root. We just thought it was going to solve all the problems.
The machine, don't look behind the curtain. Trust the machine to give you every answer you need
Yeah,
without
yeah.
any peek behind
Not,
that curtain.
not something I want to go through again, and
Yeah.
I don't think something any ready mix producer should have to go.
Yeah. Agree.
Unified platform advantage about Sysdyne. We think it's about integrating to existing tools, no data silos, and mission critical systems have big impact. I mean, it's not you can't continue to have disconnected systems. We think there needs to be a unified platform. The data needs to be unified, common sizes, spaces, characters, plugging a bunch of acquired systems together and trying to make it run real fast because no car ever goes fast as you're bolting on non-factory parts.
Right.
It is Miami F1 weekend, so I'm very focused on the racing this week.
You ready?
Sysdyne platform, the Sysdyne cloud, all of our development work has teams centered around Sysdyne Cloud. That is the basis of the entire Sysdyne platform and presentation. Speaking to some of the functional applications, the quoting in CRM, a recent acquisition of Slabstack gives us the ability for very smart quoting, CRM management, price optimization, building a quote and pressing that quote right into the dispatch system, Concrete Go. So it's ready to go, no mistakes, no typing errors, all the right pieces that the sales intended the project to be actually is what the people in the shipping side, the shippers, the dispatchers, customer service reps, they see what was there. Concrete Go holding all the data, mixes, customers, trucks, everything to do with the enterprise. Batch Go, there's the real time batching side of the business, truly optimizing the plant to its best performance, most accurate, safest, most maintenance predictable. All of that inside the same data as Concrete Go, not a bunch of interfaces, not a bunch of links, universal or non-universal, whichever ones we want to call them. Delivery Go. This is the functions in the truck. not just the GPS and all the interaction with dispatch and the tracking screen, as we all would know, but also the interaction with the drivers, the employees, being their time and attendance, pre-trip inspections, communicating to maintenance, e-tickets to eliminate the unnecessary paper flow of this industry does, all the way through post-trips inspections so maintenance can do things overnight, communicating with the drivers when to come to work tomorrow, what time to come to work tomorrow, optimizing their schedules, and then most importantly, a portal for the ready mix producer employees, owners, C-suite, managers, end-of-line employees, all the staff to know what's going on in real time, and for the customer contractor to know what's happening. They're part of the loop. They know where the trucks are. They know what to expect. They know when there's a problem. They can plan for the problem. They can communicate without calling in, going on hold with the dispatchers and the shippers and all of those pieces, even down to requesting orders or modifying an order in the same day with limited contact. One producer always tells me, tomorrow the weather just went bad. I can't spend all my time calling the drivers. I need to be talking to the customers. So let's just tell be with a push of a button, tell the drivers we're not working. Let's instantly be focused on the customers, helping the customers understand what's happening right away. And then invoicing and AR. You got to send the invoices, you got to collect the money. And that can be done in a Sysdyne solution. It can be done in a ERP solution with some very intelligent integration between the order taking, dispatching, all the way back to the invoicing. All of this data going into a data warehouse where Insight Go, one of our newest products, mines that data and allows predictive analytics right from the data. Not a report, though you can print a report, but although a natural language questions, I want to know something, ask my question, it gives you back an answer, it leads you to the next question, and then very quickly becomes predictive in how the business is running. And then the last piece of the entire platform are the integration partners, be it a QC design tool, some of the very clever AI-based QC tools, which are always moving ahead, smart cameras, safety cameras, truck to engine diagnostics, the entire loop, admix companies, cement companies, pulling all of this data into one place. So every ready mix producer, small, medium, or large, can be using that to run a better business.
You know,
That's what we believe the platform is.
yeah, at the end of the day, right, AI uses data to make decisions, to learn, to make predictions, to make recommendations. And having all this data in this ecosystem and this unified shared platform with one database just makes it more achievable to make AI products that we can rapidly deploy and rapidly scale. So let's talk about those specifics now, which are our active AI projects. We got a couple of active projects in the works right now, developers working on them, customers using them. Batch Go AI is live now. Any batch system we ship uses our Batch Go AI and delivering real value to our Batch Go customers today. We have our Insight Go, which is our natural language AI search capabilities for business analytics, and our next day planning tool, making a smart driver call in schedule. Those are with our early adopters. They're testing those right now, with aims to be released in the next couple of months. And then coming soon is our Dispatch Copilot, which is an AI agent to help the dispatch office. And then the Batch Go AI 2.0, which has taken that to the next level. But throughout all of our AI efforts, we really wanted to start focused and scale fast, right? So every project we ship unlocks the next project, and our velocity has been compounding over time. So, we started with targeted 2 projects, Insight Go, Batch Go AI, proved the value, proved the team's capabilities, started building up an internal team to focus on this work, and now we're scaling towards 5 products, right? Dispatch Copilot, that agent, our next day planning. And then by the end of this year, early into 2027, we'll have 10 AI products releasing. So, we're starting slow, but amping up. And I think it's important to point out when you see all these AI projects here, it's important to know. I talked a second ago, I mentioned building up that team, right? We have a team of experts, data analysts, PhD level candidates, people that are really focused and really knowledgeable in this space that are helping us leverage all of that data that we have coming out of our unified platform and where we can make inroads and where we can look next. And they think about things in ways that are different than us industry people often, so they get different ideas and have different approaches. And it's important to note that that is that separate group of people. So our main developers are still continuing to work on improvements in, Concrete Go and improvements in Delivery Go, and those products are going to continue to evolve and improve as well, even as we rapidly scale our um, AI roadmap. So, to talk about a couple of specific things, they really focus, our AI projects really focus in two key areas, which is batching and dispatch. So, AI batching automations and predictions. So, two key areas, right? Automating what happens, predicting what's going to happen. The goal is always to increase that batch accuracy, reduce material costs, and eventually, we want to be able to enable a fully autonomous plant environment that takes, all of the guesswork and all of that out of the equation. The impact obviously would be to maximize the throughput, minimize your downtime, and reduce dependency on manual labor. So one expert can run two or three plants, manage two or three operations instead of three people at one operation. So as we mentioned, that Batch Go AI 1.0 is live at customers. It ships with all our batch systems now. Next up is the free fall prediction, which is that Batch Go AI dynamic cutoffs based on the flow characteristics and how, that material is actually getting loaded into the mix. Batch Go 3.0 is the dynamic jog, optimized jogging in real time, use those live flow rates and how the system is responding based on that real time data. Then we're going to focus on discharge optimization sequencing, like adjusting those material ratios and the sequence with which those materials should flow into that mix as it's building to make the optimal delivery, right? As fast as you can get it in there, but still make a quality product without having a lot of overage of materials. And these things all build up to that next level project, which is the predictive maintenance, right? Monitor the behavior of what that plan is doing, how that plan is performing, and use the AI to detect anomalies and prevent failures and predict when things are going to break or things may break or when it's time to go in for a tune up. So, and all of these things have downstream impacts, right? If I know that my plant is going to need maintenance tomorrow, and it doesn't just accidentally break down in the middle of the day tomorrow, I can adjust my schedule. I can adjust my driver call in, right? And I can be proactive and make decisions and improve the situation before I'm responding to an emergency tomorrow. And then finally, the cherry on top of that whole sundae is truck detection and auto discharge of a mix. So that fully autonomous plant, detect the arrival of the truck under the plant and trigger an automatic material discharge. So those are exciting, building up, like we said, starting and proving the value and gaining user confidence that the AI is making good decisions and producing good results as we build up to more and more AI into the process. From the dispatch perspective, then, we want to optimize resource allocation, right? Dispatch is all about, like Lenny said earlier, those minutes. And we all know that minutes is equals dollars, right? So optimize the resource allocation, maximize the fleet efficiency, minimize the number of resources that we have to use, enable frictionless ordering, make it easy for our customers to do business with us. The real world impact, these projects will reduce our operational costs, improve on time delivery rates, and minimize manual entry into the dispatch system. So we are currently testing with early adopters our day ahead planning, our next day planning tool, which selects optimal plants, drivers, and trucks by balancing material and facility and travel costs, right? I say we maximally utilize any resource. So we're going to call in the least amount of resource, open the least number of plants, call in the least number of drivers, but use it to its maximum efficiency. At the same time, we're working on customer behavior prediction. I know that a customer always orders a truck every 20 minutes, but they never can take a delivery more than every 45 minutes. So anticipate those unloading durations and where drivers or customers are going to hold trucks or where they're going to need more, add-on loads, and mitigate those delivery delays by predicting how our customers are going to behave based on their past behavior. And then moving into that real time dynamic scheduling, right? Creating a beautiful driver call in schedule that is balanced and a great plan for tomorrow morning is a great start. But we all know that as the day unfolds, things get crazy, right? So continuously updating those schedules based on the changes that are happening, the live traffic, the weather, customer priorities shift, and new orders come into the system, right? So as the day unfolds in real time, make those dynamic changes to the schedule so the dispatcher has a fair chance of getting winning at the end of the day. And then ultimately, these move into the higher end AI of order forecasting, forecasting the demand and the revenue growth to inform, material ordering later on, and maybe more drivers on the schedule, maybe less drivers on the schedule based on, a future look at order forecasting and integrating the AI agent into the order entry process, allowing your contractors to use their voice or text messages to get an order into Concrete Go and then automate that order entry process in Concrete Go so that the schedule is looked at. I can confirm this order without a dispatcher having to look at that. I know that I have schedule space, letting your contractors know when there's space on the schedule. So all of these things really are designed to make the dispatch respond to scenarios instead of having to try to guess all of the scenarios that would happen throughout the day. And so ultimately that leads us to our scaling journey, right? We are from targeted pilots where we're at now to full scale production across every product in our ecosystem. Go with those two releases, the 1.0 in production, 2.0 with sensor integration will be 2027 through 2027. AI dispatch agent, we're working on the first phase of that now. That should happen Q4 of 2020. Phase two, which is the voice agent, is going to follow that same escalation. And we've talked about Insight Go, which is just a platform wide native language analytics tool. We've got 10 customers piloting that today, and we will have that ready for production for everybody by Q3 of 2026. And then the places where we're still planning and thinking and not really working on those active development projects yet, the autonomous plant, two modules there, and of course, dispatch optimization, which is the largest, the largest reach with 4 features from pilot through production, including that real-time scheduling tool. So, just to kind of sum this up and put a bow on this, we believe that our foundation is the key to our success in the AI space, right? Unified data across the entire operation is the strongest starting point for making AI tools that can actually deliver real world value to you in an incremental way, right? And so, again, we believe that humans are always going to be in charge. The best outcomes come from augmenting human experience, not fully replacing that human experience. And our approach to this is focused on providing meaningful and lasting value. Our roadmap is driven by the simple idea that AI has to drive real profit outcomes, and anything short of that is just using AI for fun. And if our AI tools can't make an impact to your bottom line, there's no value in doing those.
Well said. I mean, and it's and one of the exciting parts is in these bite-sized activities, the schedule can always be changed or accelerated. And if something new is so obviously the biggest issue to solve, it can, we can slot these kinds of things in then as we have this kind of flexibility with a stable platform and tool set.
All right, I think that's my cue to hop back in here and field a few questions alongside Mandy and Letty. Thank you both so much for walking everyone through that information. Tons of stuff in there. So the roadmap is robust and, as Lenny says, evolving as we react to what's really working. And we feel great about that platform advantage and how all the systems talk to one another to give us that kind of head start in getting these systems what they need to learn and grow using AI. So let's hop into some questions. The first one. So, in your opinions, what is the most common misconception about getting started with AI? in ready mix?
Lenny, I'll take a quick stab and then you can jump in. So, just
Sure.
from past experiences, I think that people fear the change, right? And so, when you think about putting in a next day planning tool, for example, like how can I have confidence that that tool is making a plan that's actually reasonable, that it's something that's achievable? And so, one of the things we're doing in our tools is building that insight so you can get answers to those questions, right? Like, we're not just dumping you a driver call and schedule and saying, "Great, off you go now," right? Like, but there's different ways you can look at that. Looking at it by the plant perspective, looking at it by what an individual driver's shift might look like. So, I think the one of the concerns that everybody always has is that this confidence, and so we're really focused on building capabilities into the products that bring confidence as part of the journey instead of just asking you to just trust the tool.
I
Anything to
do
add?
well, yeah, yeah, I do, and I think you're exactly right. The trust the tool thing is scary, and not a smart thing. And I think there's some other fears of a producer. Oh, I don't want to lose contact with my customer. I want to speak to my customer. I want to do this. Well, I'm going to just give a personal example. Delta Airlines is one of my best partners for 30 years in travel. A perfect day now with me and Delta, Delta and me, the only person I talk to at Delta is the nice lady I order a drink from at the end of the day in the complaint. If I have to talk to a gate agent or a ticket agent, something's wrong. So when it's running smooth, and their tools are doing that, and I'm trusting their tools, and I trust their app in my pocket to interact with them if something goes wrong. That fear is, I understand it, but it's got to be overcome to make incremental improvement.
It's just a change in mindset, right? Generations. I always say, like our kids, Lenny, they never want to talk to anybody, but I would rather talk to people. So that's just a shift in, the world really and how the world does business.
That's it. Another one, Malcolm.
Yeah. Here's another one. So if you have an AI system that focuses on a single element, so for example, customer service scheduling, and then another element that focuses on something such as sales outlook, and each of those AI elements is doing well, then the challenge becomes kind of how does AI share or interact with that data? And I'm going to try to infer some pieces to the question, like how does AI interact with that data across the systems? Is that a reasonable approach for implementing AI systems in ReadyMix?
Yeah, so we think it's a better approach because you don't have to rechange your whole organization's operations in one fell swoop, which would be a huge barrier to entry, right? If we told you that would be even worse than buying a new dispatch software, right? Like, which we know is hard enough. Replacing all our batch systems, buying a new dispatch software is crazy enough. If we were going to come in and say, okay, also do all of this AI stuff. So that is really the crux of our unified data model and our unified platform, right? Because we are implementing bits and pieces of functionality in our existing applications using our existing tools, but that ecosystem is one. It's one unified database. So it's not batch data over here that's being optimized and dispatch data over here that's being optimized. It's our database, and the AI tools are looking at that one unified place. And so it's making all those decisions, and all of that is fed into this one ecosystem. So even though we're giving functionality in bite sized pieces, the model and the unified platform are still the foundation that make it cohesive.
Well said. That's really it, and it's just pieces, and pieces, and keep pushing and across the enterprise.
Right. So I think we're a little over on time, but I think we have time to squeeze one more in. We still got a bunch of people on. So maybe we'll do this one and then wrap. But where do you think human judgment will always be necessary, regardless?
I think maybe I've talked a lot, Lenny, so maybe we'll let you. But I think there's always going to be room for human judgment everywhere. And so the AI is going to recommend a plan. The AI is going to make a suggestion about what to do. the AI is going to say, I want to change this discharge sequence. But the human always needs to be like, well, here's what you haven't considered. I know that Bob doesn't come to work on Tuesdays after bowling league on Monday night. So there's always going to be room every step of the way. And the tools that we develop have that capability in there. But I'll let Lenny expand because I talked a lot. Sorry.
Thanks for the time to think about that for a second. I worked for a very smart man many years ago, and he said something today that I find very applicable to the AI question of decisions you can unwind quickly. Now paraphrasing, should be AI. Decisions that you could not unwind quickly needs to be a human. So if it's something that's going to be, you know, so significant and so um, problematic to a person, an individual, a company, a department, that's where the human side's got to come in, and the AI is giving it the data to make that decision as well as possible, with the ability, you know, to not make a big mistake. Don't push the red button, AI.
All right. With that, I think we'll wrap. Thank you all so much for being with us today. To everyone that RSVP'd, we'll circulate a recording to the webinar if there's anybody internally you want to share it with. So we'll follow up with that probably end of day today or maybe tomorrow. Big thank you to Mandy and Lenny for taking the time to prep and come on today and present. And we hope to see you all in the next one. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the week, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.